Srila Prabhupada emphasized that all devotees should know 4 books very well. And starting with Śrī Īśopaniṣad, then the Nectar of Instruction, Deshapan, then Bhagavad Gita, and then last is Nectar of Devotion. So I want to know if anybody registered online for the Bhakti Shastri course. You are already registered. I will sincerely impress upon everybody to sign up for the Bhakti Shastri course. It's only, I think, $30, and it's on your own leisure. There is no time frame. I think there is a time frame, but they're very lenient. They're very lenient, so they let you continue. And the lectures online, and then there are exams. The exams are not very difficult. Most of the exams are multiple choice questions, and they give you more than one attempt. They give you 2 attempts to clear. So if the first attempt you don't get enough marks, I think the passing marks are 75. Then they give you another attempt, and they even let you review your answers, so you know which answers are wrong and you can correct. So it's not that very difficult. But if you go in a systematic way, you can do it. And there are a lot of advantages in doing Bhakti Shastra. One is it will boost your self-confidence. You know, because you are getting something tangible. Till now we have been listening to lectures from Shukran Prabhu, Prabhu. So now you will really see, you get like a meter for your knowledge and progress. So it's very inspiring by taking it. And once you do the course, you get something like a degree that you can put next to your name, like as a Guru Bhakti Shastra. Something like that. So I think it's very important. And if you do it together, it will become easier, and it will be like a group effort. As we know that the geese that you see flying in the sky, they go in a V formation. And that V formation is very important. The stronger birds, they stay in the front, and the leader is right at the tip of the V, and they displace the air with their wings, and the weaker ones go in the back, they get less of the wind drag when they're flying. And they keep exchanging the position, so when the front ones get a little tired, they go in the back, and the back ones go in the front. So that's one example that we can learn from nature, to do things together, help each other grow, and achieve something. So I sincerely hope that you all will sign up, and then we'll do it together and go very fast. I'm not going to go slow like we did for Nectar of Instruction. We took so long, and we might revise the Nectar of Instruction in a short time, because that is the next book. After we finish this book, take the exam. The final exam is the written exam. But again, it's not very difficult once we have gone through the book, and it's like writing an essay type questions. And if you done high school, you can easily write those questions, answers. So it's not very difficult, and it's in English. So let's sincerely pray and take lessons from our Acharya in this new venture. And I hope you all like it. I'm going to be presenting this myself. It's not going to be didactic like before we did for Nectar Instruction, so it'll go faster. And I'm going to point out the important things that we will be doing. And the only qualification I have is that I've done this book, I've done the questions and answers, I've finished this book, so that's my only qualification. Otherwise, we'll all go together and we'll be successful. So let's start with the invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayana Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Nanda Gopal Kumaraya Govindaya Om Asyam Devasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshuram Metamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manavisham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Dayamayam Dadi Swakarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadanam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagratam Sagram Sadhikam Sadhikam Sadhutam Parijanatritam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagram Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikānanda Radha-kanda Namaste Tatta-kāñcana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhānusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha-kalpatarubhyascha Kripa-sindhubhyo cha Patitānaṁ Pāvanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, Bhakti Shastri course, when you register, they give, you have to have a login and password. And then it's very well organized. Somebody has done a lot of work in setting it up for the online course. And there are lectures. There is a very famous Prabhu from Radha Gopinath Temple, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. And he gives a lectures, very exhaustive lectures. So after you hear this, you can hear that lecture. These course is set in such a way that you have to listen to the lecture, first lecture to go to lecture number 2 to lecture number 3, and you have to listen to all those lectures before you attempt the exam. So it's designed that way. But there is a little bit that I learned. Sometimes, those lectures are very long. Like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has so much knowledge that he speaks non-stop for hours. So you can listen to all the lectures. Sometimes, I used to skip. My apologies, to Charan Prabhu, but it's very exhaustive. So you can do that. You can click on the lecture, you can keep doing your work and listen to his lecture at the same time. But you have to listen to the lectures to go to the next stage or attempt the exam. So please sign up, and then it will become very easy as we go along. It took me a long time to do it, but once you know the knack of doing it, it becomes easier. So Śrī Īśopaniṣad, that is the first book. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to read and really understand. It is an Upanishad. Upanishad are parts of the Vedas. The Śrī Īśopaniṣad actually is part of the Yajurveda. It's derived from the Yajurveda. And it describes the Supreme Lord. Isha means the Supreme Controller. The one who controls everything in the material and spiritual planet. That is the meaning of Isha. And Upanishad is the study of that Supreme Controller. So I'm going to start with the first shloka from the Brahma Samhita. And it uses the word Ishvara, that's same Isha, that we learn in Īśopaniṣad. Says Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anade Ade Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all, he has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. So that is the definition Brahma Samhita gives us. But this is something which is called a ready-made definition. Here there is no describing or going around and coming to the point. This verse is to the point. Who is Krishna, who is Govinda? Is given in the first opening verse of the. Actually, this is the 5th chapter of the Brahma Samhita. The other chapters are lost. But in the Vedic knowledge, since Śrī Īśopaniṣad comes from the Vedas, Yajurveda is specific, it builds up one's knowledge from the ground up. So it doesn't give you straight answer, okay, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and he is the supreme controller. It starts from a very basic knowledge, like to reach a very advanced knowledge, you start from the small blocks. Even from mathematics, first you learn 1, 2, 3, 4. In language, you learn A, B, C, D, E. So similarly, the Vedas start from the very bottom and then try to slowly bring and come to the point of the complete understanding. So this is what Śrī Īśopaniṣad is about. So it's going to go in a very systematic way as we go through these shlokas. There are 18 shlokas in this. And I plan to cover 2 shlokas at a time, so we will finish it in 3-4 months. Hopefully. This is from the Brahma Samhita, it's not from this book. So, they are saying there are 108 Upanishads and they are considered the essence of the Vedas. Now this is coming from this book, from the introduction. And Srila Prabhupada said that Īśopaniṣad is the foremost among them. Why it is the foremost? Because it's talking about Isha, the supreme controller. And this is the, lot of knowledge is distilled into the 18 enlightening verses that this book has. So, Srila Prabhupada says for thousands of years, people on this spiritual quest, they were the sages, the rishis, the munis, they intensely studied the Vedas and then they compiled these 108 Upanishads. Upa means near, ni means down, shad means to sit. So in this, the tradition was that you sit near an elevated soul, the Guru, and you listen to him. So this is the meaning of Upanishad in Sanskrit. So actually you have to sit down very humbly next to an elevated soul like the Guru. So in our case, we are sitting at the feet of Srila Prabhupada. Because he is the one who is giving us this knowledge. And I am just repeating whatever I read from this book. So, we pray to Srila Prabhupada to make us more knowledgeable and understand what he tried to convey. So, the word Veda means knowledge. This will be in your multiple choice questions. What is the meaning of Veda? So it's important. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda for the teaching of the Vedas or the original knowledge. But not any mundane knowledge. This is a spiritual knowledge. Vedas are spiritual knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subject to many deficiencies. Now this word conditioned state is very often used by Prabhupada. And in the beginning it was very confusing. When I was new, I also used to think, what is a conditioned soul? Because, I heard this many times, conditioned soul and conditioned state. So it is said, the difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that a conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects. So when the soul ends up in the material world because of being envious, in this spiritual world, lands up in this material world, it's covered by a subtle body and a gross body, and suffer from 4 kinds of defects. So these definition of conditioned soul and the 4 defects will be in your multiple choice questions. So you have to know the 4 defects. And almost all of us have known, we have heard this many times, the 4 defects. One is to make mistakes. As is said that to err is human. This is one defect of the conditioned soul, and we all know, we all have made mistakes. Nobody in this room or outside can say that they have never made a mistake. So that is one, character of the conditioned soul. The another defect is to be illusion. Illusion means to be bewildered or accept something which is not there, which is called Maya. Ma means that, Ma means no, Ya means that, which is not. So we sometimes accept things which are not really there. So that's called getting illusion. We have heard many stories that, Tulsidas, when he was crossing the river, he saw a snake and he thought it was a rope. He found a dead body floating in the river and he thought it was a log of wood. So that is illusion. It's called Maya. The third defect of the conditioned soul is cheating propensity. Everybody wants to cheat. Whether it be elections, whether it's Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, everybody wants to cheat for benefit of the self. So Prabhupada says that even a fool, he poses to be very intelligent and will try to convince other people to buy something or agree to his position that no, Hillary is a better candidate than Clinton, Donald Trump or vice versa. And they try to be very knowledgeable and try to fool others. So that is the cheating propensity. The fourthly is our senses are imperfect. Although we are very proud of our eyes, ears, we think we have very good eyesight, we have cracking glasses, so our eyesight is 20/20. But Srila Prabhupada gives very simple examples to show how limited our senses are. He says if you put a light off in this room right now, you won't be able to see your hand. So how good is that senses? If the clouds cover the sun and you can't see the sun, doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist or has ceased to exist, but our senses are not perfect. So for that reason, Prabhupada says that you cannot totally depend on your senses to get knowledge, and you have to derive knowledge from the Vedas. And you have to accept the Vedas as they are, because we are not in a position to challenge the Vedas, which is a very high knowledge. Then is the mention of Varnashram system. That will also be in the multiple choice question. And Prabhupada says that we are not Hindus. Hindus is a foreign word given to us by the outsiders, which meant people living east of Sindhu River. That was the big river that flows in Pakistan now. They were given the name Hindus. But our identification is Varnashram system. Varna, there are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. And we are followers of the Vedas. So one who accepts the Varnashram system and follows the Vedas That is our identity. And people label it as Hindu. So, the Varnashram system is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 13. And Prabhupada said this division is not artificial, it's not created for just Indians or Hindus or the Vedic culture, it's everywhere. Although people may not acknowledge, but even in this country, you have the same class of people. Brahmanas who are knowledge seeking, Kshatriyas who are in the administration and protection, maintenance of law and order, Vaishyas who are, deal with money. In the Vedic system, Vaishyas have one more duty, that is to protect cows. And then there are Shudras, which are the service class. Prabhupada calls them service class because they serve the other three categories. And we actually belong to Shudras because we serve. Somebody serves State Farm, somebody serves OSF, we all servants, so we all Shudras. And these are classes. The caste system is not the Vedic system. The caste, actually the word caste came from Spanish language. And the Veda system is class. And according to one's pravriti and achievements, one can change class. We have seen in so many scriptures, we see some Brahmana becomes a Kshatriya, like, the Dronacharya, we have so many examples. And Shri Krishna actually was born in a Vaishya family, the cow raising Nand Maharaj. And then he, participated in war and took over, he had his own kingdom. Similarly, many Shudras, like Valmiki, can be considered a Shudra, but he became a Brahmana after he was enlightened. So these were not fixed classes, but interchangeable depending on your achievements and your pravriti. Then Prabhupada says the Vedic principles have to be accepted as it is because they are axiomatic truth. Axiomatic truth means which cannot be proven by other means. You have to accept it as it is. Like everybody says 1 plus 1 is 2, it's an axiomatic truth. You have to accept certain principles to build up your knowledge base in any science. So to accept some basic truths, they are called the axiomatic truth, and Vedas are the axiomatic truth. And then Prabhupada gives an example of the cow dung is considered to be auspicious in Vedic culture. Although any other animals or humans excreta is not auspicious. So here there is a contradiction, but you have to acknowledge the axiomatic truth from Vedas that the cow dung is auspicious and is pure. And some people have proved it even by science that cow dung has antiseptic properties. So this is the example Prabhupada is giving, and he gives many examples for committing mistakes. He gives example of Mahatma Gandhi, that somebody told him not to go for the prayer when he was shot, but he didn't listen, he still went. So he says even great people make mistakes. Then he gives an example in India, if somebody says you have to do this, then the other person's question is, why should I do this? Is it given in the scriptures? Is it mentioned in the Vedas? Then if somebody says yes, this injection is from the Vedas, then it's accepted without any question. That's called an axiomatic truth. Now, the next stanza again, these will be questions on the exam. The Vedas are not compiled of human knowledge. Vedas actually come from the Supreme Lord Himself. It is said in the beginning, Lord Krishna gave the Vedic knowledge to Brahma. And then Brahma passed it on to Narada, and then from Narada it continued down the disciplic succession. And the Vedas are called Shruti. So there are two types of scriptures. One is Shruti, Shruti means to hear. The ones that are heard. And Smriti is from remembrance. So some people write their own experiences or their own things that they have seen or heard. Those are called Smriti. The Shruti is the one that's heard from the Lord Himself and is coming down by oral reception. And those scriptures are much higher and unquestionable compared to Smriti. And Prabhupada says Shruti is considered like the mother. If you want to know who's your father, you go to your mother and ask. And whatever mother tells, you will accept it as the truth. That is actually in Vedic society. I don't know if it's applicable in American society. But they have their own DNA test and all. So, but we have to see where Prabhupada is coming from. So in Vedic culture, the mother says, this is your father, you have to accept it. Just like the Vedas. And it is said that in the beginning, there was only one Veda when Lord Krishna gave it to Brahma. And then it was passed on to Narada and other. Vyasadeva came later. So, yes, it was being passed down by Vedic, by the disciplic succession, till it came to the Dwapar Yuga. And then Vyasadeva sat down to write the Vedas because as the age was progressing, the faculties, the intellect of the people was deteriorating. In the Satyugas, people could hear the Veda, the one time, and would remember it. But as the time progressed, the intellect and the remembrance was deteriorating. So then Vyasadeva, for our benefit, wrote down the Vedas and he divided the Vedas into 4. So that's from where the 4 Vedas came. So before I go to that, Prabhupada then also gives the arguments. You know, somebody asks you, okay, you do this, and he says, why should I do this? Where is the evidence that doing this will help me in anything? Or so then Prabhupada says there are 3 types of evidence. Now this is also it's going to be on the question paper. And we hear this many times. We heard from Damodarananda Prabhu, we heard from Śrī Īśopaniṣad. It's called Praman. Praman means evidence. So there is a Pratyaksha Praman. Pratyaksha means which is in front of you. You can see it, or you can feel it, or you can experience it. Then there is an Anuman Praman. Anuman means to guess, to estimate. You know, there is something called theoretical physics. People just sit on the chair and they theorize and think and try to guess. And then there is a Shabda Praman. Shabda means a word. So this is the written word or the oral word is the Shabda Praman. And so Prabhupada says the Shabda Praman, which actually comes from the Vedas, is the highest truth. In the Pratyaksha Praman also, like, you know, we give the example of the elephant. 5 blind people trying to figure out how the elephant looks. So that's what Pratyaksha Praman is. Because our senses are so limited, we cannot get the whole picture or the whole understanding of anything, in fact. So Pratyaksha Praman is very limited, and Anuman is a guess anyway. So the Shabda Praman is the most reliable. And then Prabhupada gives the example of Darwin's theory. He also theorized, you know, that okay, the man came from a monkey, the monkey came from, you know, something else, and then, you know, progression of species, whatever, evolution of species. He made that theory, but that's all Anuman, means that's all guesswork. He theorized it, but he could not prove it because there are a lot of missing links, and there is a big change from one species to the other, which theoretically cannot happen because the DNA is so complex. To change the DNA, you know, one of his theory was that mutation happens. The DNA changes and the species change. Apart from, you know, trying to adapt to the nature, like the zebra wanted to eat the leaves of a tall tree. So he kept stretching his neck, so it became very long. That was his theory. But it doesn't hold truth. Because how long? Everybody's been trying to stretch his neck, from a long time. Human beings are trying to stretch their arms to break fruit, but the arms are not become big. So these are all theories. You cannot prove that. But we still study them in the school and we are told to believe them. But Prabhupada says, no, these are all, not so reliable as the Shabd Praman. So these three types of Pramans will be on the question paper. Okay, so my lecture is more for exam than for anything else. But it will increase your knowledge. You will remember this. And in future, when Prabhupada said we all have to be preachers. We learn about Krishna and then we talk about Krishna. So right now we are learning about Krishna and then we all are expected to talk about it. Talk about Supreme Lord and whatever knowledge we are getting. So it's a twofold exercise that I'm trying to do. So we'll get this knowledge and once we take the exam, it will stick in our brains. And then we can impart it to other people. So Vedic knowledge is called Shabd Praman, which is the highest. And it is Shruti, which is heard simply by aural reception. But in the modern world, even the written after Vyasadeva wrote it down, it became the written word also became Shruti. The other important thing is to get the real knowledge, one has to hear from the authority. The transcendental knowledge is knowledge from beyond this universe because it came from the spiritual planet. Within this material knowledge and beyond this universe is transcendental knowledge. We cannot even go to the end of this material universe. So how can we reach the spiritual planet and try to get this knowledge? Which is impossible. So we have to get it from the Vedas or from our spiritual masters. So Krishna is accepted as Supreme Personality of Godhead by all transcendentalists. Then Prabhupada describes about Bhagavad Gita, and he talks about Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any interpretation. He named it as it is, means it's not been altered, it's not been changed. He gave it as Shri Krishna spoke. There is no personal, explanations or speculations added to what Krishna said. And that's how it should be. Vedic knowledge should be transmitted in a pure form. And it should be accepted in a pure form. Now Prabhupada gives an example that there are two types of knowledge. One is a deductive knowledge that you deduce. That means you try to learn yourself. That's again, I think, the Anuman Praman. And one is inductive knowledge. Inductive knowledge is that's given to you. So for deductive knowledge, he uses a very nice example. He says that there is a hypothesis that whoever is born will die. Now if you accept it from the authorities as it is, you save a lot of time and trouble. If you don't accept it, you say, no, I want to reach my own deduction. I want to reach my own conclusion. Then you have to watch everybody who is born and follow them till they die. It might happen that you die before them. So you will never reach that conclusive deduction that everybody who is born dies. But if you accept it from the real authority, somebody who is more knowledgeable than you, then you save a lot of time and energy. And this process in Sanskrit is called aroha. Aroha means to climb or to ascend. So if you say, Prabhupada says, if you use your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusion in this lifetime. You have to take many lifetimes to learn what is given in the scriptures. Even to read the scriptures takes a lot of time. That's why you need a guru. Now the next stanza, there is a statement in Brahma Samhita that if you ride on an airplane which runs at the speed of mind is supposed to be very fast. So if you right now you think of India, you think of Hyderabad, and suddenly you will be in Hyderabad, Charminar. So that's how fast the mind travels. And the airplane can travel at 2000 miles per hour. So Prabhupada says that if you travel at the speed of the mind for millions of years, you cannot cross the material sky to reach the spiritual sky. So you have to get this knowledge through the scriptures and through a bona fide spiritual master or guru. Now, he gives the qualification of guru. Again, this is a question material. So there will be a question. What is a guru in the exam? So a guru is one who has rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source. So a spiritual master has got a knowledge from another spiritual master, which is in the line of the disciplic succession. And not only he gets a knowledge, he must be practically, firmly established in that knowledge in the Brahman, the supreme truth. These are the two qualifications he must have, otherwise he is not a bona fide spiritual master or guru. So this will be another question when you take the exam. So now Prabhupada is describing about the Krishna consciousness movement that we are all in. And he said this is completely authorized from the Vedic principles. And in Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the actual aim of the Vedic research is to find out Krishna. That shloka that Shri Prabhu says that I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and through the Vedas one finds me. So Prabhupada is quoting that verse. And Prabhupada says in the Brahma Samhita it is mentioned that Krishna, Govinda has innumerable forms, but they all are one. And this Īśopaniṣad is unique in a way, it's going to take us through, each shloka is going to take us through very slowly the process of understanding the supreme absolute truth. And it's going to establish in a very systematic way, because it's very difficult for us in this conditioned state, again, conditioned state with 4 defects, to understand really who Krishna is. We have some vague idea of okay, Krishna has a peacock feather, plays flute, wears dhoti and stands in a Tribhanga form. That is not all. The concept of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Shri Krishna, is very expansive, not expensive, expansive. And we will learn through these shlokas and we'll come to the conclusion and real understanding what Ishvara is. We think Krishna is, human being, but superhuman being. But there is so much for us to learn. That he has so many forms. He can be present at the same time at different locations. He can see with his arms and eat with his eyes. He can do anything that anybody can imagine or cannot even imagine. So, Krishna can be everywhere at one time. He can sit down in Golok, Vrindavan, and at the same time, he is everywhere. He can be on the planet Earth, all pervading. He is original, the oldest. But whenever you look at a picture of Krishna, you will find a young boy, 15 or 20 years old, or small boy. You never see Krishna as an old man. So one time somebody had asked in the congregation, why we don't have any picture of Krishna where he is old with grey hair and this and that. So the reason is that Krishna's body is not material body. His body is spiritual. It's ever young, ever fresh. So how can he be old? He's not like any other Devata or human being or Superman or anybody. So that conception has to be kept in the mind. That Krishna is ever young. That he is the supreme power. And if you want to search out Krishna by the Vedic literature, when you read the Vedas, you can be baffled because you never get the answer. Even by reading Īśopaniṣad, you get some idea what Krishna is and what your understanding of Krishna can be, but you still don't find Krishna in Īśopaniṣad. And that's what Prabhupada is trying to tell us from the very beginning. Only he says the devotees of Krishna can deliver Krishna. And that is the potency of the Krishna's devotees. So we all actually are very empowered people, being the devotees of Krishna. And we only can deliver Krishna to each other. It cannot be done otherwise. So now this is what I just mentioned, that in the beginning there was only one Veda, then Vyasadeva for the Kali Yuga, with our limited understanding and remembrance, divided both Veda into four Vedas about 5,000 years ago. And now here Prabhupada mentioned another term, and this also will be in the exam, which is called a Dvija Bandhu. Dvija Bandhu refers to those who are born in a high family but who are not properly qualified. So you might see people who are born in high families, in very learned families, but they are not qualified because they don't study the scriptures and they don't accept a guru or associate with devotees. So those are called Dvija Bandhus, and this will be a term in the exam. Dvija means twice born or the Brahmin, and Bandhu means the relation. So they are actually relatives of Brahmins, but they pose as Brahmins, but they are not Brahmins. And for these people, Srila Vyasadeva compiled Mahabharata, the history of India and 18 Puranas. And you see a lot of these Dvija Bandhus, they watch the Mahabharata serial on the TV and try to understand spiritual scenario. They follow very closely because it satisfies them. What Duryodhana is doing and what Shatrugna is doing and all those, manipulations and Shadyantra and all this, it excites them. So Mahabharata, leaving that Bhagavad Gita part, actually is meant for the Dvija Bandhus who enjoy reading this. And then after the four Vedas and then the Upanishads. Upanishads are also part of the Vedas, but then they add some more from the various rishis and munis and the gurus. And then Vyasadeva, after all these, compiling all these Vedas, Upanishads and Puranas. Puranas are actually stories. There are a lot of Markandeya Puran and so many Puranas, and they are stories. And through stories you learn a lot of knowledge, but still you don't reach the absolute truth. It's a long process. So then Vyasadeva wrote the Vedanta Sutra, which Rashega Prabhu nowadays is enlightening us with. Vedanta means the end or the ultimate knowledge. So the Sutra means just an equation, they are very short, they are not shlokas, they are just one-liners. But they contain a lot of knowledge. And so, under the instruction of Narada, Vyasadeva wrote Vedanta Sutra because the Vedas and the Upanishads were still not reaching the absolute truth. And Vyasadeva was still not satisfied. So he wrote Vedanta Sutra. Even after writing Vedanta Sutra, he was not still happy. Yes. So he was still not happy. So one day Narada came and asked, you have done so much of work, but you're still not blissful, you're not still happy. He says, still I'm thinking something is lacking because I'm not feeling satisfied from inside. So that's the time Narada instructed him that you have written Vedanta Sutra, which means the ultimate knowledge, but you have not described the ultimate knowledge. Unless you describe it, nobody is going to appreciate it. And the ultimate knowledge is Krishna. So that's the time, Vyasadeva writes the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, which is all about Krishna. So this is the same verse again from Bhagavad Gita. Vedesya sarve aham eva vedya. Through the Vedas, everybody comes to know me. I am the compiler of the Veda Sutra and I am the knower of the Vedas. So the ultimate objective is Krishna. And a lot of people have commentary on Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta philosophy, and the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, which we belong to, as Govinda Bhashya by Baldev Vidyabhushan. He was from the Gaudiya Sampradaya and he wrote the Vedanta Sutra in a very short time. He was given a challenge and just overnight he had to write this commentary and present it in the morning. And before him, Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya, they are all given commentaries on Vedanta Sutra. But Prabhupada says that doesn't matter that Baldev Vidyabhushan gave the commentary later than others, but his commentary is still perfect and as good as anybody else's, if not better. So that may be a question also that, from Gaudiya Sampradaya, who wrote the commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and that is Baldev Vidyabhushan. Which is called Govinda Bhashya. Okay. And as we know, let's listen to Vedanta Sutra. The Śrīmad Bhagavatam begins with the first word of Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Asya Yata. Actually, the first sutra actually is the Atto Brahma Jignasa, right? And this is the second. That means your real human birth starts now when you try to seek knowledge of the Supreme Lord. And then Śrīmad Bhagavatam starts from there too and describes the absolute truth. And that also, Śrīmad Bhagavatam also starts from the very beginning, but then it reaches, in the 10th canto, it reaches Krishna and describes the Lord Sri Krishna in splendor. The whole summary of the Vedic knowledge is the Vedanta Sutra, and the Vedanta Sutra is explained by the writer himself in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Because if you hear Vedanta Sutra, it's very axiomatic, it's difficult to interpret unless somebody explains to you, but Śrīmad Bhagavatam is open. It's open knowledge about Krishna. Anybody can understand it. So that's the end of today's lecture. This was the introduction to Śrī Īśopaniṣad. So I hope you are not bored when you heard this. So we're just going to recap a couple of things for the remembrance and for the exam. So the conditioned soul is the soul in the material world which has 4 defects. And you know, commit mistakes, get illusion, propensity to cheat, and limited senses. Then it was our real identity is Varnashram system, which is 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. And Hindu is a word which is given by foreigners to us. So we know the society is in 4 classes, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and it's everywhere, although people may not accept it. Then Veda are the Shruti, came directly from Lord Sri Krishna to Brahma to Narada. And Vedic instructions are axiomatic truths, they have to be accepted as it is. And there are the Shrutis, and the other form of scriptures is Smriti. So the Vedas are considered to be our mother, and Brahma is called the grandfather. And there are three types of evidence or praman: Pratyaksha praman, Anuman praman, and Shabd praman. Shabd praman is the highest and most authentic, but it has to come from the authentic source. And it has to be Shruti praman. Okay, then there are two systems of knowledge. One is inductive knowledge and one is deductive knowledge. Inductive is what you receive from bona fide source, and deductive is which you try to reach yourself by experimenting or observing.
It's the opposite. The deductive is the one when you receive from a bona fide source, and inductive is when you try to experiment.
Okay, sorry. Yes, the other way around. And then there is a definition of Guru. Guru is the one who has got knowledge from the right source to the disciplic succession, and he practically abides and lives by those principles and is firmly established in Brahman. So this is the two qualifications of a bona fide Guru. Otherwise, it is not bona fide. Then there was a term called Dvija Bandhu. Dvija Bandhus are who are the relatives of knowledgeable people, but they are not knowledgeable themselves. They pretend to be knowledgeable. In the Mahabharata and Purana, the stories are actually written from them, called the Prabhupada and Vyasdev. And then Vyasdev mentioned about the Vedanta Sutra, which is the ultimate knowledge, but it's still not explicit. It's very difficult to understand. And then the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by our Sampradaya was by Vidyabhushan, Baladev Vidyabhushan, called Govinda Bhashya. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate commentary on the Vedanta Sutra and describes the Lord in the full, absolute splendor. And then, I think one slide is missing here. The definition of absolute truth. This is also important. This is also a question in the exam. The absolute truth. What is the definition of absolute truth? We always hear absolute truth, absolute truth. The definition of absolute truth is what is given in the very first stanza of the 5th chapter of Brahma Samhita. The absolute truth is from which everything emanates, which is the source, which is the cause of all causes. Sarva karam karanam. That is the absolute truth. That's the definition. So, once you learn these terms, you feel really spiritually and intellectually empowered. Now you know the meaning of conditioned soul. You know the meaning of absolute truth. And then Prabhupada says, the Srimad Bhagavatam explains, once you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, that the absolute truth cannot be something impersonal, something that has no consciousness. Absolute truth must be consciousness. It cannot be dead matter. Or it cannot be just some effulgence of light. It has to be consciousness. And that absolute truth is self-effulgent, and that's a term called Swarat. So, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is described as Swarat. Swarat means self-effulgent. He is absolute knowledge himself. He doesn't need any other source of knowledge or source of enlightenment or source of himself. This is the meaning of Swarat. So that's one term that we have to learn, and this will be in the exam. And then Srila Prabhupada in the introduction at the end says that we finally request those who are actually after Vedic knowledge to try to understand the explanation of all Vedic knowledge from Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. So in this course of Bhakti Shastri, we will learn Bhagavad Gita, But Bhagavatam is huge and will be the next step. So they say if you do Bhagavad Gita, you graduate. If you do Srimad Bhagavatam, you postgraduate. If you learn Chaitanya Charitamrita, you become postgraduate. So that is the hierarchy. So Hare Krishna, thank you very much for listening. This was the introduction, Śrī Īśopaniṣad. So next time we'll do the invocation prayer. Any questions, any comments, any more additions?
It's mentioned here about Vedic.
Right.
So, for Vedic, that they were right or but how to see the present
Maybe I did not explain it properly. The Dvija Bandhus like to read Mahabharata. Right? We straight away go to reading Bhagavad Gita, which is the most important part in the Mahabharata. And then we go to Bhagavatam and we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? We don't spend so much time reading Mahabharata. But Dvija Bandhus, they like to read Mahabharata because there are a lot of things in Mahabharata, conspiracies, how Duryodhana tried to, Kauravas tried to kill Pandavas and all. Those things are not very important to know. But Dvija Bandhus, they enjoy those type of things. Whereas we enjoy Krishna Katha, we enjoy, learning about the Lord and how to better our lives. So that's what was meant. So in Vedic literature is so vast and it tries to give everything according to its taste. In the Vedas, if you want to have a son, there is a yagna or a mantra to get a son or get a child, to get a good wife, to get a good husband, to get a good crop. Anything you want, there is vidhi given in the Vedas to achieve that. So people who want that, they pursue that. They pray to those devi gods or devatas and do that. But people who are really, want to go for the highest truth, they follow a different path.
And we should about the Vedas we talk about.
Yes. So Prabhupada specifically mentioned that we should all study Śrī Īśopaniṣad. And we will see as we go along with the shlokas, we will see why he wanted us to learn, because it's all about Ishvara, the supreme controller. And it slowly builds up the concept of the supreme controller and opens up our minds to go. So once you learn the Śrī Īśopaniṣad, then you go to Bhagavad Gita, and then you go to Bhagavatam. That is the proper sequence. And nectar of instruction comes in between, but nectar of instruction is more, how to advance in bhakti, how to, prosper in going that path of devotion service. And then the last one is nectar of devotion. That also is, more advanced when you are in the bhakti path, how to get more out of this process.
I have two questions. One is why Shabda Praman is better than Pratyaksha Praman? I'm seeing the truth, but I am listening the truth. Shabda Praman is listening. So why Shabda Praman is better than Pratyaksha Praman?
So Pratyaksha Praman is when you try to, like Prabhupada gives a very nice example. Somebody will ask you, can you show me Krishna? You talk about Krishna, can you show me? So Prabhupada gives an example that if you put the lights off, make it totally dark, you can't even see your hand. So your senses for Pratyaksha Praman are not enough that you can't even see your hand without a light, and you want me to show Krishna to you. You first have to get the ability or the sight to see Krishna before you can ask this question. So Pratyaksha Praman is very limited.
So can you say like imperfect senses?
Yes. Because the imperfect senses, our Pratyaksha Praman is not going to be perfect. Because the senses are imperfect.
Praman is something and you can produce based on,
Right. So the other example he gives, he says, like looking at the sun, he calls it sun planet. Looking at the sun planet looks like a small disk, right? Do you know how big it is? It is huge. It's thousands times bigger than the earth. How do you know this? Not by Pratyaksha Praman. By looking at it, you can't tell. You can't tell how big the moon is. It is by the Shabd Praman. Somebody has told you that sun God is so big and it is so far away. That's why it looks so small. Otherwise, with our senses, we will be, reaching the wrong conclusions. Based on Pratyaksha Praman.
And in material world, and when we say Shakti, it's not a mundane word. So this Shakti is like coming from the Supreme Lord.
Right.
With something coming from the Supreme Lord of this,
Right.
it is authentic.
It has to be from
It's not
Lord.
a Shakti coming from a Maya or from
So those second question, Shruti, Smriti. So which one is coming from Supreme Lord?
Shruti.
Smriti, Smriti.
Smriti, you remember, like the sages.
Any scriptures of what Smriti are?
Yeah, there are some scriptures, I can't tell you which ones are. But like, there are many, I can give you one example. Like Ayurveda. So, yes. So, Valmiki wrote from his memory. He actually came to know before the Lord was to appear on the planet. He got that knowledge. So, from his memory, he wrote it down. So, those are the Smritis. And similarly, the Ayurveda and all our Smriti Shastras, because from remembrance, they are written down in the scriptures. So, those are the Smritis.
Yeah, so Shruti is literally that's what's heard. So when Krishna says it, it's always a little bit more higher. It's always the topmost, the ultimate information that he's giving. So that's why they always say, like the Bhagavad Gita, because it's spoken directly from Krishna. It's the highest. It's very elevated.
So Bhagavad Gita is Shruti or Smriti?
It's Shruti.
It's Shruti because he spoke. Since Lord spoke himself.
Even from Mahabharata,
So it's in Mahabharata, but it's Shruti.
Yeah,
Because it was heard from the Lord's mouth by Krishna.
The Bhagavad Gita is a Shruti and a Smriti. Yeah, that's a very technical term. Yeah, but for that reason, because it's a Smriti because it's in the Mahabharata, but it's a Shruti because it's literally spoken from Krishna.
So now I have a question. How many of us are going to sign up for Bhakti Shastri course? Really, I'm impressed with it. It's only $30, I think, is the fee. And as we go along, we will finish. This book will be finished very fast. And,
Can you do every Friday instead of
it's the Śrīla Prabhu also has to take some Bhakti Vikshas. We can do it every Friday, but it's not a problem.
if you can do every Friday, that would be nice.
Okay. If you all will sign up for Bhakti Viksha, I'll do every Friday. Yeah, it's not that you just, I will put so much of time and effort, and you all want to sign up for Bhakti Viksha, at least who are present here.
12.
It doesn't make sense, right?
No, Bhakti Shastri.
So
Yes.
sign up for writing exam.
Yeah, you sign up and you write exam.
So just sign up is fine.
So I think they are divided into 4 parts. The Īśopaniṣad is divided. So once we done with the slogan number 4, you'll be ready for the first test.
Actually, we all should sign up for the Bhakti Shastri because anybody who's aspiring to be a devotee has to take the Bhakti Shastri. Radhanath Swami.
Prabhu is already taking Bhakti Shastri, right? And the Śrīla Prabhu taking. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 people to sign up. Then I promise I will do it. Not pressure. It's give and take. It's pressure on me to go.
You'll have to do it anyway if you want to become a devotee, because most swamis are asking people to do the Bhakti Shastri.
It's for oneself, you get knowledge, you get confidence, you get certificates. There's nothing to lose, $30, come on.
It's not $30. Actually, Prabhupada says deep reasoning. Why we need to do Bhakti Shastri?
I think $45.
Whatever. It's not much. You all said
A lot of good reasoning. But actually, before going for Bhakti Shastri, there is one constructive class given, which says one must be very clean, as you were saying, that you must take all when you are serious, then
right. So,
it
yes.
is minimum that.
Right. So you have to show your seriousness for me to, otherwise I've done this book and I've taken the exam, I've cleared the exam, so I don't have to do it just for the fun of it, So if you all show your sincerity, then